All right. Wow. What an incredible. This did not go how I thought it would go at all. And
I'm shocked.
I
I'm
love,
shocked.
I
I'm
love it.
shocked.
Welcome back to the Pitchy Podcast. We are your hosts, James.
And Stephanie.
Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we are passionate about good music and a great vocal. We use the vehicle of NBC's The Voice to give you our take and our feedback on each contestant's vocal and overall performance. Here on the Pitchy Podcast, we will never, ever come for any contestants as a human being or any character of the contestant. We may come off a little pitchy at times, if you know what I mean, but we'll always use our platform to speak our truths and love, kindness, and respect. And with that, let's move on to another special episode. Our superlatives, as I like to call it, our look back on season 25. And we are now at, I call, the last round was my favorite round. This round, as far as Stephanie and I determined that this is the impossible round to pick.
It's impossible.
To pick two honorable mentions and 5 performances. But you know what? We got to do what we got to do. So if we left you off, it's nothing personal. I'm sure one of us is going to get you this round, or we'll get you in future rounds.
Yeah.
It was just too difficult. And that's just a testament to the talent. This is when the talent really started to develop. You know, if we could be completely transparent, Stephanie and I, we didn't know about this season. We had such an incredible experience with season 24 and 3 and 2 and 1, I think. But this season wound up like it was we felt it was a slow start.
Yeah.
But this is when things started to really we were like, okay, something special's brewing, right?
Yes, exactly. This is when they started to cook.
So just to remind you all, they did do it a little bit different. They bought the playoff pass back to the battle rounds. So there are going to be some people that we don't see again until we get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they actually got to skip around and just enjoy. But, you know, we found that it's not really that enjoyable because you do have to stay pretty current in your social and that people don't forget you when they bring you back. And we found that there was a lot of success this year with the playoff passes. A lot of them made very deep runs in the show. But we have some business to attend to, Stephanie. So, as Stephanie so beautifully demonstrated, it's time for the knockouts. All right. And if you aren't familiar with the format, 2 singers go up against each other from the same team, and they actually sing an entire song each. One sits on stage while one performs, and vice versa. And then they make a decision to either save them, steal them, or one person goes home.
Or let them go. That's right.
And there were some people that we lost this round that I wasn't too happy about.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
There was one in particular that neither Stephanie and I weren't happy about at all for the last round, but there were a few people this round that I wasn't happy about. So without further ado, Stephanie, let's jump right in. I'll start us off.
Okay.
My first honorable mention, come on, go strong or go home, right? My first honorable mention is Mr. Kyle Schuessler. Say You Won't Let Go, James Arthur. You know, the reason why Kyle has to be on my list, it has to be on subsequent lists, is because this is where I felt Kyle really started to come into his own, in the sense that something that Kyle did, when I went back and watched this, Stephanie talked about, you know, Kyle's eye contact and how that's something he really needed to work on, and we both agree with that. But I felt with this song, for some reason, it did not bother me as much, Stephanie. I felt like there was a mysteriousness about his work in this song. I just, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked with it. because Kyle was going to give a sensational vocal, but I felt like he had brought, like he was a little bit of a man of mystery this round.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were parts where he got a little mumbly, but the mumble worked because where he mumbled in parts, he also showed range because I felt like he was all over the place with his, in a good way. Like he showed falsetto, he showed mix, he showed chest, he showed it all. Like he was really navigating well through his vocal to be all of 19 years old and singing this. So I had to put Kyle on my list because as when I started to be like, okay, this young man is formidable. He's really, really good. Stephanie?
Oh, I'm so glad you put him on your list because I did not.
Because I know
Kyle.
Stephanie and I talked about that there were going to be people that either of us would leave off, and we hoped that the other person would catch it. And I'm glad that I caught it.
I'm glad you caught it.
Yeah. What'd you think of that one?
I'm glad you caught it.
Did you go back and watch this one?
I did. I loved it. I really did. Yeah. I just can't, not that I can't get past, but I've just really, really, really wished he would have opened his eyes more.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the mysterious
I just think that he is magical. Like, no matter what, his voice just has this really beautiful quality, but it would have been completely epic if he would have opened up his eyes more. Yeah. But I really did love this performance.
Who was your first mention? I'm really excited now since it wasn't.
Let me tell you, I had a whole struggle fest within like the last hour because as I was going back through YouTube, making sure I hadn't forgot somebody, I forgot somebody. And when I got to that person, I was like, oh my God, you just completely blew up my list because I have to add you. And I had to add this person to my top 5. I couldn't even just slip them into the honorable mentions. I had to add them to my top 5. So I was like, dang.
That's huge.
So, yeah. So my first honorable mention is Karen Waldrop, Georgia Rain. When I went back and listened to this song, there was something that I didn't notice, particularly the first time around, that I noticed this time around. What I noticed is that I hated this song. I felt like this song was such a snooze fest. I felt like Karen was so much better than this song. And the only reason why I was captivated by this song is because of Karen's presence and Karen's vocal. On its face, I was like, I know this is kind of a ballady song, but even for a ballady song, like in the wrong hands, this song would drag. But Karen was such a pro that from jump, I was just like, she's just too good. She's just too good. Like, she was telling the story. She was giving range because the song does have a little bit of range in it. She was giving the vulnerability of the song. She was giving us holleration at the end, which we hadn't quite seen yet with her in the competition. And the way that she was able to take a song that I probably would have hated, given to somebody else, and love it because Karen sang it, made me have to put her on at least my honorable mention list.
That's a really good pick. Karen did not make my list this round. This was the first time I felt like Karen first put that stranglehold on you. Like, it was like she put a performance stranglehold on you and did not let go.
That's right.
Like, choked you basically the rest of her run on the show. As we know, Karen made it to the finals.
Yes.
Right? So again, she did not let go. Like, it's like she had on your neck and did not let go because Karen always gave you vocals. She always gave you a performance.
Yes.
And it was always stellar.
Yes.
Both.
Yes.
So yeah, this was the start of something special. Like Karen was starting. I felt like this is where Karen pulled away from the other country artists because we had country artists this season, right?
Right.
Great choice.
Thank
great,
you.
great, strong. We both had very strong first
I
albums.
know.
So this list is about to get deep. So my
Yes.
next one might be a surprise to you, but I'd be remiss if I did not include Danny Stacy, Jaded, Miley Cyrus. I would be remiss because let me tell you, I wrote a whole bunch about Danny. Danny was a complete vibe. From the second she stepped on that stage, right? Danny just had this all around groove
Yes,
about.
she did.
And remember, I talked about her during, back in the show. I said she was this eclectic genre singer. You didn't quite know. Was she country? Was she pop? She threw some runs in there. I felt that Danny gave one of the strongest and best blinds of the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I put her in probably top 15 blinds I've ever seen on this show. What she did with I Will Survive. But y'all, Stephanie and I have said this time and time again. Don't you ever sleep on Miley Cyrus. Don't you ever sleep on any of Miley Cyrus's songs. I thought Danny just slayed this. To go back and put this in my good ears, I love the rasp she brought to this song. And one of my favorite things that Danny did so well, and she did it with every round that she sang in, Danny was a master back phraser. And you have to be a very elite musician to know how to back phrase without losing the tempo of a song. If that makes sense.
Yes.
And I believe has nothing against Serenity, because she was up against Serenity in this round. I believe if she was up against anyone else, because Serenity was very special. If she was up against anyone else, Danny would have gone on to the next round. Mm-hmm. Something about her. Again, she was a complete vibe to me. Mm-hmm. She was a complete vibe because I wasn't expecting not even just what came off of her throat, but what just the whole arrangements of songs that she did. So I had to put Danny on my honorable mentions list because I thought she killed Jaded. I thought she slayed it.
Wow.
I thought that one would be yeah.
That's a surprise. To be honest, I didn't even go back and listen to that one. And it's not because of the vocal. I remember saying of that performance that I didn't necessarily love her performance. I didn't feel like she believed what she was singing, or she came off a little uncomfortable, but I loved her blind. That I need to go back and listen to this.
Go back and listen.
Knockout.
You really listen, and maybe it wasn't so. Maybe it was more her vocal for me on that one. Mm-hmm. Because listen to what she does vocally. Listen to how she rasps it. She back phrases. Good stuff.
I remember not thinking that there was anything wrong with the vocal.
Right.
Yeah, I do remember that. So I will give that another listen. Good pick.
I am so excited because that means our lists are going to be, I have a feeling our top two are the same, but I think our lists leading up to that are going to be. Work it out. Hit me,
all right, here's my last honorable mention. My last honorable mention goes to Zoe Lavelle for Cowboy Take Me Away by the Chicks.
That's the one. That's one of the ones where I was like, how is Zoe not on my list? Mm-hmm. This is one of the ones. I had two that I'm really upset that I left off my list. So thank you for including Zoe as your honorable mention.
She got in by a thread. But this was the beginning of what we saw the week prior in the battles was not a fluke. This is what she really out here doing. She really out here being a vocal technician. She really out here being surgical and strategical with her vocal choices. She really out here being a very intelligent vocalist. She is really out here sparkling and shining to the point that I'm calling her Tinkerbell, just because of how she looked on the stage. She looked AI. You've said that about people's voices. The way she presented on stage looked AI. And it was, but knowing her background a little bit, knowing what she believes in, I know who was shining through her. It was really amazing to see that what we saw in the battles was actually how she presents as a solo artist as well. And so I had to include Zoe.
That's a really good one. And thank you. Zoe was not a one-hit wonder on The Voice.
No, she
by
wasn't.
no means.
No.
She just had to present and remind everyone why she was there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Number 5. Tay Lewis, Nothing on You, Cody Johnson. I said, you know what? I said, Tay, you have the nerve. I put he Tennessee whiskey that song.
100%.
I think
100%.
I can't think of anything else better to say other than he Tennessee whiskey that song.
Yes.
I said, again, this is the second round where somebody who was higher on my list went before him.
Okay.
And there was zero intent. He could have been like, well, there's your winner. But Tay stood up and was like, delivered after an earth-shattering performance. And then Tay made himself undeniable. Tay was like, I will go on in the next round. I don't care who I'm singing up against. I have my lane, and I am going to be the best in my lane. I said, the soul country of it all.
Right.
I said, this is when you were like, okay, you are PK. Because there's a little too much oil up on them chords, you singing like that. That's why I said the Tennessee whiskey of it all. Not on those chords, because you holy. There's the oil. But the way Chris Stapleton sang Tennessee whiskey is the way you sang this song. There's Nothing on You. I didn't know this song, but after Tay sang it, I wanted to know it. Stephanie?
Okay, so I'm going to do what you did in the last episode. I'm going to skip around and go ahead and talk about Tay. He is my number 4.
Okay.
So we're not too far off.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and talk about him now. You said it perfectly. After coming after Asher, it was like, Tay. I was like, well, at first I was kind of mad at production because I was like, how you gonna make Tay go? You knew what Asher was fitting to do. You knew, and you made Tay go after that. Like, how dare you? How dare you? Like, it just seemed rude, right? The gall. But Tay, listen, I had so much respect for Tay, and the way he was like, let's go. Let's do it. I'm going to stand up here and do my thing too. And the fact that he was not shook at all, the fact that he could stand there and appreciate what Asher was doing, but not be shook by it. May we all be that confident in our gifts and not envious of other people's gifts. May us all be secure enough to say, I can't do that. That's not my gift in this, but I have gifts too. And I'm not going to shrink, or I'm not going to be shook because somebody's gift is different than mine. I'm special too. And that is exactly what Tay did. It was just straight up vocal.
Sitting on the stage, mind you.
While sitting on the stage watching what was going down. Like, it was absolutely incredible.
Right.
Yeah, he just stayed in his lane and performed with excellence. He was one of the most consistent vocals of our season. He showed so much range. I feel like in every performance that he did, he was able to show a lot of range in his vocal. This would have been an outstanding vocal and an outstanding performance on its face, no matter what round. But being as though this was a knockout and being as though it was up against Asher and what Asher delivered, for him to give this performance, it had to be in my top 5. Had to be.
Had to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then give me your 5.
My number 5 is the one that snuck in. The one I almost missed. The one I would have been really mad that I had missed. It was Jackie Romeo with Love on the Brain by Rihanna. I don't know how I missed it. It was my fault. But thank God I just kind of went through YouTube once again and said, like, let me make sure nobody.
Yeah, I'm side-eyeing you. I was going.
It wasn't it wasn't as.
Not if you miss this one, because this was
No, it wasn't a skip. Okay.
So I'll piggyback on you, and then I'll go back.
Perfect. Okay. So it wasn't like I saw her and I was like, I didn't like that performance. Like I just kind of missed it. And I'm going to blame. I'm just going to blame YouTube's thumbnails on this, that they're not very clear on YouTube. So, but anyway, thankfully I went back and I saw it and I was like, oh no, I remember. I said, if nothing else, I remember her picking up that mic and taking that mic stand and being like, the oil on this child's throat. That's all. The oil on this child's throat. From jump, she meant business with this song. She meant business. The way that she articulated some of her phrases, I still remember. Like even before that part came up, like the way that she said, I'll run for miles. Like the way she said miles. And the can't get enough. Like the way she stair-stepped that. I was like, ah. Now, the ending of the song is almost a kiss of death, right? Because there's nowhere to go. The band is completely out and you end on falsetto when you've already like sang your lungs out with this song, right? The way that she landed the plane, the way that she stuck the landing, I was like, I just wanted to stand up. Watching it again on YouTube in my kitchen, I wanted to stand up and say, that's how you give a full performance. You better land on 2 feet. Like it was such an impactful performance. I loved it so much. And I'm so glad that I didn't miss it or I would have been really mad at myself. Number 5, Jackie Romeo.
All right. So we're jumping around a bit. So just to remind everyone, my number 5 was Tay Lewis.
Yes.
Okay, which was Stephanie's number 4.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And Stephanie went back and gave her number 5.
Yes.
It was Jackie Romeo.
Yes.
And she was my number 3.
Yes.
Okay. So I put, Stephanie knows. Stephanie knows because offline, I was obsessed with this voice.
Yes.
I said, Jackie, I said, you got me with that voice. Jackie could have sung the phone book. If, for those of you young ones, we used to have these things called phone books.
They're really thick.
Jackie could have sung the dictionary. She could have sung anything, anything, the newspaper.
Yep.
And I'd have been done because the voice was just so spectacular.
Yes.
So elegant.
Yes.
So different. Like
yes.
a tone that you've never heard. I get excited when I hear tones I've never heard before. She was her voice. The second, Jackie's one of those singers. Second, she opens her mouth, like Kim Cruz. Second, they open their mouth, you know who it is because no one has that sound.
Right.
I said, and what is it also about her technique that I love? And Stephanie alluded to it too. I felt that she attacked every run and every beginning of her phrase. And that's what Stephanie kind of was alluding to. For the emphasis, where she put her emphasis on her phrase. And it's like, da, 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 like that. Like, I felt like it was an attack.
Yeah.
It was just, I said, did I mention that I love her voice? Of course. I said, it really just always moved. I felt like Jackie was, I didn't get moved by too many artists. And I don't get moved by too many artists, but when an artist moves me, I am your biggest fan. I'm a fanboy. I'm obsessed. All the words that they use nowadays. And I just thought, I said, she's got to win this show. She's got to. Because no one else is coming on this show sounding like this.
Right.
And it's Love on the Brain, right?
Right.
It's a hard song.
It's a very hard song.
The level of difficulty is hard.
Yeah.
So your number 4, I can almost guess what your number 4 is going to be, but go ahead and tell me. Oh no, you already told me your number 4. So I can almost guess what your number 4 is. You could
almost guess what it is. Because I told you.
I think your number 3 is going to be my number 4, but I'll let you go first with your number 3.
Oh, you want me to go with my number 3?
Wait. Well, I can go right in my 4 since we're still there yet.
Go ahead to 4. Go ahead to 4.
My 4 is Nathan Chester, who fooled around and fell in love, Alvin Bishop. It's just a perfect performance, okay? And the thing, I forgot about this performance because this was one of the few performances where Nathan just stood there and sang.
Mm-hmm.
He was not giving us the splits. He was not giving us the running around all the stage. Not saying that he didn't do that well, because no one did like Nathan. But I'm saying he stand there and sang. He even say, well, this one's for you, Reba. This is like he did, like it's like I call it the Fantasia school of singing. Like he talked to his people, right? He talked to his audience, and there was always just Nathan. I call him like the Barack Obama of singing. Like you never worried about the performance. Like you never worried about the speech. You never worried about, because you always knew, Nathan, you could just sit back and enjoy.
That might be the most perfect line you've ever said on this show.
Really? Yeah, it just hit me. Like it just came over me. I didn't write that down or anything. The play to Reba is I said the play to Reba is in good taste, because sometimes that stuff is done not in the best taste.
Right.
It's done like as a gimmick, and it was never gimmicky.
No.
And I think he walked that fine line, because sometimes people think cruise ship performer, they think, oh, cheese and gimmick.
Right.
No. Don't ever switch.
Nathan got me wanting to book a cruise just to see.
I'm like, dude, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, Disney, what, Norwegian? Who you with, bro? Who you with? And what ship? Tell me.
What ship?
We coming to see you.
We coming.
Boy, I said, and then just on top of it, the vocal is sick. I said, it was such a nice reminder, because I forgot that Nathan does and will always be able to stand there and sing or give you a performance of a lifetime, and that is truly the complete performer that he is. So, what is your number 3, Stephanie?
Him.
I do it.
Him. For all the reasons you said. I loved the character in his voice, because his voice changed tone quality a little bit depending on the line, and it made it it gave it like a little bit of a theater-y feel, but again, not in a cheesy way. I love, just like you talked about Jackie and the attack. That's what I felt like Nathan had with the song, like attack, like I'm going to deliver this song. He had a way of making old school feel fresh, and feel new, because this song could have been cheesy. It really could have. And I think that it didn't. Number one, because of his vocal, but number two, because of the passion and the intent to which he sang it. Like, even if I didn't know from the B-reels that he was dating somebody, I would have known that he was dating somebody and he was in love at this moment in time, based on the way he delivered this song. He's such a natural on stage, just like you said. I love the looking at you, Reba. I loved that. It was so perfect. It was so perfect. And he told the story of this song. It was incredible. And he went up against somebody that was pretty incredible. And after him, I was like, oh, she in trouble, because he just really killed this performance.
He did.
Number 3.
So, I already know, I mean, I don't have ESP or anything, but I already know you all, mine and Stephanie's 1 and 2 are going to be the same. But I don't know what order her 1 and 2 is going to be.
Okay.
And I'm just going to speak for myself, and maybe Stephanie can agree or disagree with me, but I think my 1 and 2 honestly could be interchangeable. Like, I could thrown it up in the air for me, not you, Stephanie, but for me, I could have thrown it up in the air and been like, like, because they were both that remarkable, in my opinion, for different reasons. But I'm sure Stephanie has an opinion on that, so I'm just going to give you my number 2. Okay. My number 2 was Asher, Unbreak My Heart, Toni Braxton. Yep, I did it. I said, what can I say? It's just quintessential Asher. Every nuance, the my, like, I was like, you know what? Stop. You're doing too much. Like, I can't take it. And then, like Asher reminds, I have another analogy. Asher reminds me of Simone Biles, okay? Like, where Simone will, even after she's slayed the competition and pulled away, she'll still throw something in at the end that nobody else can do but Simone. When he did that little Rance Allen thing at the end of Unbreak My Heart, I was like, stop it. I was like, don't hurt him, Asher. You're hurting us.
Right. Like,
please, Asher, don't hurt him, okay? I said, just a not of this world, God-given gift. He had 13 of the greatest singers, as I'm going to quote that person who put it in the notes on YouTube. He has 13 of the world's greatest singers, all in two vocal cords in his throat, okay? It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable what he did. Mm-hmm. I would say, like, next to Tony, greatest rendition of this song I have ever heard. Ever. And we have heard incredible versions of this song on the show, off the show. Like, when this song is done right, Diane Warren wrote an incredible, incredible song. And when this song is done right, it's just spellbinding is the best word I can use to describe it. Tony started it off. I mean, it was probably her biggest hit of all time. And when it's done right, it's just a gorgeous piece of musical history. And what Asher did to this song was just insanity. Stephanie, you're number 2.
I'm giving you my number 1.
Okay.
Because it's Asher.
Yeah. And again, I was back and forth. I literally went like this because I literally know what your number 2 is because that's my number 1. So again, I'd love to hear what you had to say about Asher and why he was unequivocally your number 1.
Oh my God. This was the story of 2 songs within one, because the first half of the song was very, like, I love watching Asher move because it was just the lull and just the way, I love the way he moves, the lows of it all. Because I was waiting, we know how the song goes. So I know where he started and I know where it's going to go. And I was like, ooh. And I love some of the choices that he made within the lows, because he found ways not to stay low or to elongate some of those notes that didn't necessarily need to be. He found a way to kind of play with the lower half of that song, the lower part, the verse of that song, to really not only kind of save his voice, but to make it his own as well.
Yep.
Oh, the my life, my. Oh, excuse me. I knew that the snappage was happening before it happened. I knew that the snappage was happening because he said, "Without you, I justa." When he said "justa," I said, "Oh, everybody back up. This man is about to go off." Listen, and he went off to the 10th degree. It was such a powerful. He said, I've never in my life heard anybody do that to that song. And it for as snappagey and powerful as it was, it never came off like great. Like it didn't come off as too much. I felt like he gave us a story within this song. Like at first, like I'm sad. And then it's like, I'm mad. Like, I can't go. I'm about to go crazy. And that is exactly. Yes.
And I feel like my number 1, your number 2, it was the same thing for different reasons. The story of 2 songs. Like, I felt like it was.
I don't know if we'll get there in a second, but I don't know if our number 2s and 1s is the same. I really don't.
Oh God. Imbecile. Okay.
No. But Asher, bruh, this was just one of many. But this was the one where I was like, well, dang. Somebody got to snatch it from Asher. Y'all better step up. Because I said this king is not playing. This king is about to get his trophy and crown. He ain't playing on this show. He ain't playing with y'all.
But
Y'all better
then,
come with it.
hold on. Tay followed him, okay?
Yeah, and that is why he had to be on my top 5. Because I'm like,
wasn't this a leak? I believe this was a leak.
This was the leak, yes.
Yeah.
The full thing.
There were 2 leaks. Because it was 2
this full thing was, it was 1 leak, yes.
It was a leak.
Both, yeah.
I remember Stephanie calling me, being like, I just heard Insanity.
I just heard Insanity twice.
Yeah. And this was just the start. This was just the start of just some of the most insane singing we've ever heard on this show.
Yes.
So I'll let you give your number 2 since you gave your number 1. Then I'll give
my my God, I want you to, but I will. I will give my number 2.
No problem.
Give your number 1.
And my number 1 is Val Love, Anita Baker.
I knew it. We're different. We are completely different. And
that's why there's somebody I really left off my list, and you probably know who it is, that I'm heartbroken I had to leave that person.
I can't believe it.
Then I now know who your number 2 is. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why this is my number 1. I said it's already an exceptional vocal. I said it's a tale of 2 songs when she did her version of Sweet Love. Tale of 2 songs. I said first half, safe, exceptional vocal. Second half, she made Anita Baker sit up and listen. Okay? Because the snappage that came from Val on that second half, Val T had that elevation gift where I just felt like the band just like rose. I said, no one improv'd like Val and Asher, in my opinion, this season. No one brought artistry and individual artistry to songs like the 2 of them did in this season. I said, did you notice? Did you go back and listen to this one, Steph? What?
Of course I did.
Okay, that's what I said, because this is one of Steph's favorite songs. So, did you notice how when they went into the groove part that the band followed her? Like the band, and that's what I talked about to you earlier off camera. I said that's when Chance lost his mark.
No, Chance was like
they followed her. Like it was just, I said the back half of that song, I was like, she's giving it to us. She's giving it to us. Oh, she's hurting us. She's hurt. Stop. Like it just kept coming. Kind of like Asher. It just kept coming. And it's like Val threw everything at us, I think, on the back half of that song. And that's why that's my number 1. Sweet Love, Anita Baker, Val T. Fire. And you got it. She was left off your list. So then both of our left off our list. Like, well, can I ask you this question? Why was
absolutely?
I was going to left off your list.
I was going to address why. Number 1, song bias. You know how this is like, if there's like about 6 songs that are just written on my heart.
Like the John Legend, Stephanie, when people sing John Legend songs on The Voice.
I'm pulling, yes, that is exactly where I am with this song and this performance. I'm very difficult, probably to a fault, and we don't get to hear much of Anita on this song or on this show. I think for me, there was a little bit too much timidity. And I think that you spoke to that a little bit where you said that it was safe. I think Val is an exceptional singer, and that is an understatement. So because of that, and because of this song, I felt like she was a little shook by this song. And I felt like, this is just my feeling. I don't know this to be true. I do know that she was nervous about this song because she said as much in the rehearsal in the B-roll. I think some of those nerves showed up at the beginning of the song. And even though the delivery was not a train wreck, it was not bad at all. I want to.
I was better than most on her bad days.
Absolutely. But my expectations were high. And at the front of the song, my expectations were not met. My personal expectations. Now, when you talk about back half, that's my other issue. It's because it wasn't a back half. It was like the back 10 seconds of the song was absolute brilliance. It was absolute brilliance. When they switched up the beat and they got into that, give me your sweet love, and Chance was like, I was losing it too. Yes. I was losing it too. And that made me even madder. Like, why didn't you give more of that at the sooner? Because by then it felt like it was too late. Like, it was brilliant, but for the amount of time that they had, it was just too late for me. And I was just like, oh, like this was good and incredible all in one performance. I wanted incredible for the whole performance.
Got it. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I thought it was a nice arc. I thought it was intentional, but I don't remember the B-reels because I think this was the time where I didn't have time to watch the B-reels,
right?
Because of things that were going on, right? So I thought it was a nice arc. I thought she was playing it safe, intentionally, and then she just let us have it in the back part of the song. So understandable. And to your point, this song holds a very special place in your heart. So
yes, it does.
Yeah. All right. So your number 2 is
it's Maddie Jane.
Of course. I got new rules. I got them. I got new rules. I got them. Come on, Dua Lipa.
I wrote that she.
Yeah, that was insane.
I wrote that she out Dua Lipa.
She did.
This is another one of those songs that is kind of talk singy a little bit. This is a little bit more singy. This is more on the singy side of talk singy. But okay, number 1, the opening stance. Cut to Maddie, and she's with the legs kind of spread out a little bit. Just
no. Remember before she was walking on, she went.
I was like, up.
It's over.
Up. I was like, this is not a fair fight already. This ain't fair. This song is deceptively hard. I think I said that in the first podcast about this performance. Deceptively hard, particularly this chorus of death. It is the chorus of death because it might seem kind of simple, kind of talky, but if you're going to sing it, which Maddie did, you better know where you are breathing because there is no space for you to breathe. And the thing that I really looked at in this performance was that where she could have chosen to breathe and let the BGVs do it, she was singing all that. Like, she could have breathed when it was 1, and she could have sang, pick up the phone. Da, 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 da. She could have breathed that 2. She was singing all of it. I'm not going to call her out her name, but this girl was singing all of it, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the bridge. The bridge goes in and out of chest and falsetto. Chest, falsetto, chest, falsetto. And it was like this. Like, the way she was just, like, this is where I was like, oh, you can really, like, you not playing. You not playing. You are a singer, girl. You are a singer.
Often Britney and Bessa Christina. Like,
yes.
If you fused Britney and Christina, that's why I said she would have been the biggest. She'd have been the biggest pop princess. She would have.
And if you didn't know throughout the entire song, if you didn't know that she could sing during the verse, if you didn't know she could, if you were still kind of like, if you were still kind of
forever, that she held forever.
If you still weren't convinced by the chorus, if you got to the bridge and was like, oh, that was pretty impressive. This child said, you ain't getting over here. Like, she extended that note. and it was just that big note. It was so glorious. And then girlfriend said, like, I was losing it. I was like, there is no way she can do all the things. There is no way every pop princess resides within Maddie Jane. But they do. They do. They do. They do. They do. They do. It was undeniable.
Please understand, Maddie, you know I'm coming for you in future rounds. I'm coming for you. I think this is when me and Stephanie really first started to take notice of just the prowess that Maddie had, because Maddie was like, she was undeniable, and she was like, you look up prepared for a battle in the dictionary, her face. Maddie, even when she was singing, wasn't battling or doing knockouts or anything like that. She was always battling, like always game face, always.
Yep.
We called it the Sasha Fierce effect. Like,
yep,
she would transform.
Yep.
And it would be just from top to bottom perfection.
Like, there were things about that performance, like during the chorus where like the band was just giving, and like there was a part like, oh God, and she like put her hand up, and I kind of like it timestamps in my mind, like it's fixed in my mind how not only how she sang the song, but how she performed it. Like, I could still see the things that she was doing. Oh my God, Maddie Jane. Yeah. And kudos to whoever wrote this song, because the line of if you're under him, you're not getting over him is one of the most brilliant lines I have heard in a minute. So claps to the songwriter, because that's true, y'all. If you up under him, you ain't getting over him. Life advice.
This was the one that hurt my heart that I can't believe.
I can't believe it did not make your list. I cannot believe it.
Crazy over Maddie Jane. Maddie, you know I love you, girl. You know I love everything about like you, who I want to be when I grow up as a performer. Like, I study you, Maddie. Like, just that just no holds bar. I'm gonna attack everything I do. It's like the Kill Bill. Attack me with everything you have. Attack me with everything you have, because you know what? Someone is not walking away from this, and it will not be me. I will always walk away from this.
That's right.
And she gave it to you from then on out. Every round. So I will be talking about you, sis. Don't worry. All right. Wow. What an incredible. This did not go how I thought it would go at all. And
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Stephanie and I called her first thing this morning. I said, oh, this is so hard. She's like, what do you mean? I said, this is so hard. Stephanie, text me or call me later. James,
you're right. You're right. You're right.
Woo. I feel like maybe in the future rounds a little bit more clear cut, but not really. Because Stephanie and I always said when we got to the finals, like any of them would have won and we'd have been okay with it.
Right.
And I don't think we've ever had that before.
Right.
So this is where season 25 started to really separate itself.
That's right.
That was awesome choices. I'm glad.
You too.
We accomplished. Yes. Inadvertently, we accomplished what we intended to accomplish between the two of us, including all the people we wanted to be on our list. We have a hard, fast rule this season where we're only going to do 2 honorable mentions and 5 one top 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Stephanie, tell them what they need to hear.
Y'all, so don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Pitchy Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you can be the first to know when we drop a new episode. Also, check us out on YouTube. Search for the Pitchy Podcast and hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop a new video. And last, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Pitchy Podcast for new episode alerts, episode clips, and so much more. I am so shook. I cannot believe our lists were that different.
I'm shook in a good way.
Yes.
Wow. I'm happy because we got everyone that
we did.
Right?
Yes, we did.
Between the two of us, y'all, there was no one. It's like Stephanie and I had, for the most part, like a list of 10 and 4.
Yeah.
We included people we wanted to include.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. See you all for the, what is it, Stephanie? The playoffs?
Playoffs will be next. Yes, yeah. Playoffs will be next.
We get some of our artists back. So
yes,
here we
do. Yes. Yes.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.